He's trying to ruin our republic. He's trying to torch it. What more evidence do we need on a day-to-day basis? This madness, masked men, not even identifying themselves, no warrants, terrorizing communities.
Which brings me to California Governor Gavin Newsom. Respectfully, what are you doing? You're the governor of the state of California.
What happens when someone starts a fight they clearly weren't prepared for? Gavin Newsom took a shot at New York City, and Stephen A. Smith fired back with absolute intensity. No hesitation, no holding back, just one sharp response after another. What started as a political jab quickly turned into something much bigger. It felt less like a normal debate and more like a full-on public takedown. The internet immediately exploded with reactions, clips, and non-stop commentary. Before long, it became one of Stephen A. Smith's loudest and most talked about responses. So how did this entire situation spiral into a nationwide viral moment? Let's break it all down.
Down with Gavin Newsom, because my issue with Gavin Newsom is like, listen, you look great in those blue suits. You're very articulate, very smart, very quick-witted. I love how you've been trolling Trump, because I thought that was necessary, in order to compete with Trump. But I can't ignore the fact that you're number one in unemployment, number one in homelessness and poverty and all of this other stuff, and the price of the affordability issues in California. I can't ignore all of that. I can't ignore the fact that there's no way I can see you winning an election with some of the things that have been happening in the state of California.
If you're enjoying the video so far, make sure to subscribe to the channel. It really helps support us and keeps the content coming. From the moment Gavin Newsom stepped onto the national stage, he carried himself with the kind of confidence most politicians only dream about. California's governor has always looked like someone aiming for something far bigger than state politics. The way he speaks, the way he presents himself, it's been pretty clear for a long time that he's had his eyes set on the national spotlight.
Trump wants another election. You think for a second you want... I have 24 Trump 2028 hats. His folks keep sending me.
And you think he's going to run again?
No, don't give me. Who spends $200 million on a ballroom at their home and then leaves the house? So this is serious, guys. This is serious.
So it'll be Newsom Trump in 28.
No. This guy doesn't believe in free.
But over the past few months, that major ambition ran directly into one of the loudest and most outspoken voices in American media, and the fallout quickly became a massive public moment. On his show, Stephen A. Smith didn't just push back against Gavin Newsom, he came after him with nonstop energy and sharp criticism that instantly exploded across social media, cable news, and political conversations all over the country.
Why are you over in Davos, Switzerland, talking to folks and speaking negatively about the President of the United States? What am I talking about? Listen to Gavin Newsom talk about Donald Trump today.
Did it stand out to you that he said Iceland multiple times when he was talking about Greenland?
And that every time a windmill turns, it costs $1,000.
What followed wasn't just simple criticism. It turned into a full verbal takedown delivered with so much intensity that nobody paying attention could really ignore it. Stephen A. Smith came in loud, direct, and completely unapologetic, making it clear he had a lot more to say about Gavin Newsom than just one political disagreement. To understand why Stephen A.'s response landed so hard, we have to take a closer look at who Gavin Newsom is, what his record in California looks like, and why some of his recent actions have drawn so much attention and criticism in the first place.
Been on this air, or invited on this show for 4 months. AOC has been invited on this show for 4 months. Gavin Newsom has been invited on this show for longer than that. Props to Hakeem Jeffries. He's a friend of the show. Always welcome on here. I like that man. I respect him. Chuck Schumer's been invited on this show. Hasn't shown up.
Gavin Newsom's time as governor of California has been filled with ambitious plans, major policy decisions, and constant criticism. Supporters praise his confidence and big-picture vision, while critics argue the state has faced serious challenges during his leadership. For Stephen A. Smith, Newsom became an easy target the moment he stepped onto the international stage and began criticizing Donald Trump. Known for his loud and fearless delivery, Stephen A. didn't hold back after Newsom spoke against Trump during an event in Davos, Switzerland. Smith argued that taking America's political battles overseas was a major mistake, saying disagreements between U.S. leaders shouldn't be displayed in front of the rest of the world.
Being candid and open about his feelings about our president on United States soil. To go over to another country, Switzerland, to go over there and to be in the presence of other European leaders speaking against the president of the United States.
The response wasn't calm or carefully measured. Stephen A. Smith made it very clear that, in his view, Gavin Newsom had crossed a serious line and he wasn't planning to stay silent about it. But that criticism didn't come out of nowhere. It tapped into growing frustration many people already feel about California's leadership. One of the biggest concerns has been homelessness. Even after billions of dollars in spending, cities like Los Angeles, San Francisco, and San Diego continue to see rising homeless populations rather than clear improvement. At the same time, California's high cost of living remains a major struggle for families. Sky-high rent, expensive housing prices, strict regulations, and rising construction costs have all made it increasingly difficult for many people to afford a place to live.
Top Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom is speaking out against his own party. Newsom criticized the party and implored fellow Democrats to take accountability for their losses and called the party's current brand, quote, toxic, end quote. Newsom appeared on Real Time with Bill Maher and said the following, quote, Democrats, we tend to be a little more judgmental than we should be. We need to own our mistakes. We need to own what's wrong with our party. Part of the problem with the Democratic brand is that we talk.
Critics argue that Gavin Newsom's efforts to fix California's housing crisis haven't delivered meaningful relief for everyday residents. Many people still face high rent, expensive home prices, rising taxes, and costly energy bills, while promises of real progress feel far away. Some also claim that concerns around crime and public safety have increased under his leadership, pointing to criminal justice reforms as a factor in what they see as a more lenient approach to enforcement. Even members of Newsom's own party have voiced concerns. Democratic strategist David Axelrod publicly criticized the governor, suggesting he is focused too much on building a national profile rather than concentrating on governing California. What made that criticism stand out even more was that it came from within his own political circle, not from his opponents.
Personal belief is that the political career of Gavin Newsom is in peril, if not flat out over. His presidential aspirations have been eviscerated. There is no way he overcomes this. No way. And in regards to Karen Bass, to say nothing, you can come and speak out, but that video will live in.
With all that criticism already building, Stephen A. Smith's reaction wasn't just about one speech or a single political moment. He was taking aim at the broader public image Gavin Newsom has been developing over the years. Smith questioned why Newsom was criticizing Donald Trump on an international stage while California was still dealing with major challenges like homelessness, affordability, sanctuary policies, and the rising cost of living. His message was straightforward: focus on fixing problems at home before taking political fights global. Stephen A. made it clear that, in his view, Newsom was spending too much time chasing national attention instead of fully addressing issues within California. He also tied the state's affordability crisis directly to Newsom's leadership, arguing that everyday Californians are the ones feeling the pressure through high rent, rising taxes, and the ongoing struggle to make ends meet.
Asked people, end quote. Newsom recently launched a new podcast called, quote, This is Gavin Newsom, end quote. The California governor hosted conservative guests like Charlie Kirk and the aforementioned Steve Bannon. Newsom also found common ground with the right on the issue of transgender athletes competing in women's sports. He called these athletes' participation, quote, deeply unfair, end quote. Bravo, bravo, I mean, bravo. I'm so very touched, Gavin Newsom.
Some people argue that Stephen A. Smith's reaction was driven more by entertainment value than substance, shaped by headlines and online attention. But even some of Gavin Newsom's strongest supporters find it difficult to completely dismiss the broader concerns. California's challenges are real, and the outcomes of its policy solutions have often been uneven. While Newsom has pushed initiatives around climate leadership, renewable energy, and large-scale reforms, critics say the results don't always match the ambition behind them. The state's energy system continues to face scrutiny, and the long-running high-speed rail project remains tied up in delays and rising costs that are hard to ignore. At the same time, Newsom's national profile keeps growing, leading some to believe his attention is increasingly split between governing California and building a future presidential image, staying active in national debates, and positioning himself as a broader party leader rather than focusing solely on state governance.
Say whatever you want here. As a governor from the opposite side of the aisle of a state in the United States on American soil, fine. But I'm one of those people, when we go somewhere else, it's America first. You know, our problems, are our problems. But we ain't taking dirty laundry outside. Now, I know that sounds juvenile. I get that. Very simplistic in the eyes of a lot of people. But some things are worth.
Critics argue that while California's problems continue to grow, Gavin Newsom appears increasingly focused on building a national image rather than addressing issues at home. Stephen A. Smith zeroed in on that tension between ambition and day-to-day governance, suggesting that Newsom often prioritizes headline moments over the steady work of leadership. Smith also connected those choices to broader frustrations in California, pointing to ongoing challenges and declining public trust. For him, it wasn't about ideology or party politics, it was about accountability. And when Newsom criticized a former U.S. president while speaking abroad, Smith viewed it as a clear misstep that reflected misplaced priorities.
Gavin Newsom. I think the brother looks the part. He looks presidential in them damn blue suits, no doubt about it. He's sharp as a tack. He's smart as hell. But on far too many occasions, when he was spewing out facts, it was rife with emotion. Instead of addressing the facts that the right was throwing in his direction to debunk anything that he had to say. But we forgot to mention that to Bill Maher on Real Time.
This wasn't a quick soundbite. It was a long, forceful critique in classic Stephen A. Smith style. What initially looked like a routine political discussion quickly turned into a sharp challenge of Gavin Newsom's leadership, raising questions about both his strategy and his priorities. It wasn't framed as a personal attack, but rather as an issue of accountability and how leadership decisions impact everyday people in California. Still, Newsom has strong supporters who see the situation very differently. They point to California's massive economy, its leadership in tech and innovation, and its response to major public challenges as evidence of effective governance. They also argue that the state's problems are complex and can't be placed on one individual, and that engaging in national political debates is a normal and even necessary part of modern leadership.
California, that you would say that. Why didn't you add that you were the one doing it? Because that's exactly what the hell you were doing. When you talked about the right, when you talked about conservatives, when you talked about conservative folks out there and what their principles were and how they may not have been for transgender athletes competing in sports, how they may not have been for, for open borders, how they may not have been for sanctuary cities. Didn't you question it?
Both sides have valid points and deserve to be heard, but Stephen A. Smith's reaction clearly struck a nerve, tapping into a broader sense of skepticism shaped by years of frustration and unmet expectations. More than just a media clash, the moment shows how quickly politics, media, and public opinion now collide in real time. Leaders are expected to govern effectively while also managing the public spotlight, and falling short in any of those areas can trigger immediate backlash. Smith's criticism of Gavin Newsom highlighted how fast a political narrative can be challenged when questions are raised about judgment and priorities. In the end, public figures are often judged less by intent and more by results, especially when they are under the brightest spotlight.